I'm going to show you the exact scan settings that have found me stocks to buy right before they blow up. And this scanner found me my biggest trade ever on Riot, which tended to be over 2,000%. It also found me Home Depot, which tended to be 600%, and allowed me to grow 5 different small accounts over 400% in a matter of just a few weeks. Stick until the end because I'm not only going to show you how to find these stocks, but also how to trade them so you can catch the big moves and catch these 1,000% gainers, just like I've done time and time again. Okay, so we made it to finviz.com. All right, it's easy to type in Finviz. And now Finviz is a free tool. It has a lot of different stuff on it. But for us, we want to go ahead and go on the top section here and click on Screener. Okay, we're looking to find a screener or a scan setter that we can find all the different stocks we want to trade on. Now, if we take a look over here on the left, you can see it says number 1 out of 9,472. All right, that shows all the stocks that are on this list, and we obviously want to narrow it down, and we can use that using all the filters up here above. Now, the first scan setting I want to show you guys is more of a supply and demand strategy, and the next one I'll share with you is more of my stock squeeze setup, which we can get those crazy moves from. Okay, so I'm going to show you 2 different ones, so make sure you pay attention because they're really, really important. Now, the first one is going to be the supply demand one. So what we want to do is go ahead and click on all. All right, that's going to bring up all the different filters that we can use to search for different stocks. All right, we have exchange, market cap. There's like a million different things on here, right? There's only a few of them that are really important. Those are the ones that we're going to want to stick with, all right? Now, the first thing that we want to be able to actually use is the price, okay? Now, we're looking for stocks that we can get options on. We're looking for ones that aren't penny stocks, all right? We're looking to trade stocks that have decent volume, good price on them. And so for me, I like to do over $20, right? These are stocks that I find work the best when it comes to finding these crazy short squeezes and finding these crazy moves, all right? Now, can you find crazy stock squeezes on penny stocks? Yes, but we're looking to trade options. That's where we're looking to get these good moves on. And so typically stocks above $20 have the best options, are the most liquid, all right? So that's the first thing we want to do. Step 1 is change the price to over 20. Now, the second thing, it's going to be pretty simple, all right? We want to go ahead and change this one right here on the right side. It says option/shortable. We want to change that to say optional, okay? Because we want to be able to trade stocks that have options on them because not every single stock has options on them, okay? So we do that. We have 2 different filters on here. And you can see we already got it from 9,000 down to 3,000, all right? So we're narrowing the list quite a bit. Our goal is to get this down to around 200, and I'll show you how to narrow it from there on even more, okay? We're at 3K, so we have stocks over 20 bucks, ones that are optional. Now, the next important thing is going to be the volume. All right, you can see here we have relative volume and we have current volume. All right, now relative volume is for, how the volume is currently compared to how it typically is, right? And current volume is just how much volume does it typically have each and every day, right? Now, the ones that we want to look at for this specific scanner is going to be current volume. Now, we want to go ahead and change this to over 400K. Now, there are times where we want to put this at over 1 million. I'll show you that later in the video if it comes up. But for now, we wanted to change that to over 400K. Okay, over 400K is typically a good number that we can use to find stocks that have decent liquidity, decent options volume, because we don't want to be getting screwed over by spreads. All right. Now, we got that down to about 1,500 stocks. All right. But now we have to find the actual technicals. And the way that we go about this strategy is by the performance. So we have performance 1 and we have performance 2. Now, this is going to help us determine what kind of setups we're looking for, all right? And the type of setups we're looking for are stocks that are on an uptrend, that are moving up, right? And then looking for a pullback to buy that. And this is how we find those exact setups. So performance 1, we want to go ahead and change this to say quarter up 10%, okay? This is going to show us all the stocks that in the past quarter have gone up at least 10%. This shows that stocks are in a current uptrend. It's very strong. And these are ones that we want to find pullbacks on, right? So now we got it down to about 828. And the next thing is performance 2. Okay, so now for this one, we want to go ahead and change this to say week down. Okay, so it's week down. That means the stock is going to be down on the past week by any amount. It could be down 1%, it could be down 50%. Does not matter. All right. Now, these are the scan settings we want to use to find these stocks. Now, we got it down to 348. That's a pretty decent number, but we want to double it down even more. Like I said, anywhere between 100 to 200 is typically a good number that I like to use when I get it down, right? And so if you have the scan setting, you go through and there's more than 200, you want to do is change the current volume to over 1 million. Sorry, over 1 million, just like this. Okay, and changing this got us down to about 211. That's perfect. This is going to give us just better stocks overall, right? It's going to give us higher quality stocks, ones that we want to stick to, and ones that we want to trade. All right. Now this is the first scan setting. All right, and you're probably thinking, well, Jordan, you have 200 different stocks. How does it actually help me? All right. And we're going to filter it even more. And the way we do that is simply by looking at the charts, right? If we look down here, you can see all the different, fundamental stuff about the company, the market cap, PE. We don't care about any of this. All right. None of this matters. We're technical traders, right? We like looking at the charts and trading this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and we have this bottom little tab layer down here. We're going to go ahead and click on charts. All right. Now that's going to bring up all the different charts of the stocks that we have. It's going to bring up 200 different charts, right? You can see we can scroll through different pages just like that. Now, what are we actually looking for when we scroll through these charts, right? This whole process takes me about 20, 30 minutes. It doesn't take that long. I do it once a week, and it finds me all the good stocks, right? So what I do is I simply scroll down, and I'm looking for different supply and demand zones on these that price is coming down towards, okay? And I can typically eyeball it. I don't need to click on each one and carefully examine it. I don't look at any of these trend lines, any of these moving averages, right? I keep it really simple, and I just eyeball and see is price coming down in any supply and demand zones, right? And if I start to scroll, you can start to see that we have some coming up, right? One of them that caught my eye would be ARE, right? And so when I see one that I think is a potential good fit, I go over to my other charting platform, which is TradingView, type in the ticker, ARE, click on it, and then I go ahead and I wait and see, okay, is there a good demand zone that is going to be in the area, right? And you can see right here that we have a decent one right here, right? We have a nice rally, base, rally move right here. So we have a pretty decent supply zone, and price is getting down close to it. So when I see this, I know I can tell myself, okay, this is something I want to have on my watch list. So I'll go ahead and add it to my watch list just like that. It'll be down here at the bottom. And then what I can also do is put an alert at that demand zone. So I'll put an alert like this, add that in, and now I'll get a notification when price comes down to this demand zone, okay? So now we have one stock on our watch list that we're going to look for to get this nice move off. You can see we're in a very obvious uptrend. We're getting a nice pullback to this demand zone. We can set up a really nice risk-reward trade just like this, targeting this high here, if we do end up getting that entry, okay? Now, what I do for my process is really simple. I simply scroll down, and I go from page to page, just simply seeing, eyeballing it. Do we see any good supply-demand zone setups, right? You can see AXP. We're coming down to one right here. So go ahead and look at the charts, AXP. I'll say, okay, you know what? This looks like a pretty good stock, right? We've been squeezing the past 2 weeks. Really nice move. We get a pullback down towards this demand zone down here. I want to go ahead and look for a long entry. So go ahead and add this to the watch list, AXP. Click this little add button, and then boom, I'll have an alert just like this, and then I'll know when price comes down to this demand zone. All right, and I do this chart by chart. I go through, and it really doesn't take that long. I know there's a lot of pages, but you can really go through pretty easily, see if there's any good supply demand in the way, and then add them to your watch list, right? And the reason why this works so well is because we're looking at stocks that have, in the past quarter, gone up, so they're uptrending, and in the week, they're down. So they're in an area where we can go ahead and look for a pullback. They're all optionable, they all have a good price, and they all have really good volume, so they should be pretty liquid, all right? Now, the next scan setting I use for this is really, really simple, okay? These are all going to be bullish setups. But what we want to look for are bearish setups, okay? And all we have to do to flip that is simply change this from quarter up 10% to quarter down 10%, and then from week down to week up, just like that. You can see we only have 14 different stocks, all right? And that's because the market's been trending pretty up. And so if we see only 14 stocks, what we can do is change this to, say, over 400K, and that will give us a few more. Still not that much, 25, but I can go through, scroll through, and see if we have any good setups here. Looks like right here, ACLS. That one looks like it's coming up to a supply zone. We can go ahead, just hit that, ACLS. Look if we go on a weekly or daily time frame, coming up towards the supply. So this is an area where we can watch for a potential sell-off down back to the lows, okay? And you go ahead and scroll through and see if there's any good setups for the supply zones that you want to trade going like this, all right? Now, this setup, this screener is really, really important, okay? Take a screenshot of this right here, pause the video, do what you got to do, write all this down, and use this for your trading, especially if you trade supply and demand. This is going to be really, really key when it comes to actually learning how to trade that, all right? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to clear all of this, okay? So we're going to go ahead and reset. We're going to bring all this back to 0. I'm going to show you the second scan settings I use to find all of these really good stock scanning setups that are squeezers. Okay, these are the moves that go really, really crazy, and they're really, really important to look at. All right, so first thing we want to do, same thing, optionable, right? We want to make sure that we're still trading stocks that have options. So first thing is going to be changed that to optionable. Now, the second thing is we want to go ahead and go to performance. We want to go ahead and change the month to be up 10%. All right, Now this is going to bring it down quite a bit. Not a lot of stocks are up 10% every month, but this is going to allow us to find stocks that are really, really in that squeeze mode that have potential to continue to the upside and make that nice move higher. All right, so month up 10%, optionable. Now the third thing we want to do, really, really important, is the relative volume. All right, so in the past, we looked at the current volume, but we're going to find stocks that currently or relative to its past performance has a lot more volume. All right, now we're going to change this to over 1, okay? Now, depending on how many stocks we have left and we go through the other settings, you can typically either raise it or lower it to either narrow it or make it more general, but we want to do it to over 1 because it's going to give us stocks that have a lot of volume previously compared to its past performance. All right, so these are ones that are in the right area where it can actually squeeze higher because it has an increased volume. All right, now the last thing we want to do is really, really simple, okay? And it's this one, float short. All right, this is going to tell us the amount of short selling that's going on in that stock. And what we want to do is we're going to change this and make this one high. All right, high is going to be above 20%. All right, now we only have 6 different stocks. Now when you do see 6, and it's not a lot to go through, what you can do is actually lower it a little bit. All right, so we can say over 10%, and that should give us a few more to look at. All right, and now we have our scan settings. Okay, this is the exact scan setting I used to find these stocks that have blown up, especially Riot, especially Home Depot, all these ones that have gone pretty crazy. All right, and if you can go ahead and save this, and same exact issue, same exact process last time, we go through when we find any good setups that look like they could potentially squeeze. Okay, so right here, EWTX, right? This one is obviously up quite a bit. We can go over to the charts, EWTX. We go like this, and we can share, okay, are there any good setups here, right? Is there anything that we like, anything that we don't like? And you can see it's a pretty good squeeze setup, right? In the past few weeks, we've been going up quite a bit, had a nice pullback. We let shorts accumulate down here, and now it looks like they're getting squeezed again. We can use this to get in options to buy calls and have this continue to higher and higher prices, all right? We can go back to the screener. We go ahead and find some more, like GRTS, right? This one is more of a penny stock, but nonetheless, it looks like it's in the process of squeezing, right? We're seeing these gradual grind higher, these higher lows and higher highs, and that's telling us the price wants to move higher. All right, we can use this scanning to find other different stocks in the area, right? Another one right here would be LQDA, right? If you go to LQDA, and this one looks pretty solid as well. We had a nice little squeeze here. Imagine if you caught this move. This would have been a massive, massive move. It looks like we're forming the same exact pattern here. You can see we have, if I go on this little rectangle here, this kind of like uptrending little bullish flag here. Looks like we're kind of forming that here as well. We got a little uptrending bullish flag. And if we can keep it going, we can possibly get another squeeze for a move much higher. All right. And the reason why this works so well is because these stocks specifically have the high float short. Okay, they have a lot of short selling, which means there's a lot of shorts in these stocks, which means they got to cover at some point. And if they cover and all of them start to cover together and you add in buying pressure, it's going to squeeze the stock so much higher. Okay, so those are the 2 different scan settings that I use in my trading. Now, how to actually trade these goes a few different ways. You can use supply and demand, but learning that as a whole strategy on its own. You can also trade and learn other strategies to find when to actually buy and when to actually sell on these scanner settings. And so what I've done for you guys is I've created a free course and community for you guys to learn the exact strategies to trade using these scan settings, okay? So it's called The Vault. It is a completely free community, okay? It has a classroom with a bunch of different courses in it inside showing you exactly how to trade, okay? So a stock scanning course with a PDF of everything I went over is going to be in here. Beginner concepts trading, supply demand mastery, showing you how to trade supply and demand, market structure, market profile, and a few other courses in there. Okay, we have a really awesome community. We have over 1,000 members. It is 100% free. You go ahead and join using the link in the description below. And I would join now before I end up making it paid. I'll probably make it paid at 1,500 or 2,000 members. So I'd go ahead and join now. You can get lifetime access for free and learn the exact different strategies in here of how I trade to find using these setups. Okay, so you can make 1,000% returns, 2,000% returns, and crazy small account gains. All right, so I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Click the link in the description below to go ahead and check out the free community called The Vault, and I'll see you guys in the next video.